Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayath Dawada, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Okay, so this is another video concerning the Captivity series that I'm doing. This is known as the Achaemenid Empire, which is the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, so we're going to get started with the book of Daniel. It's going to be chapter 7, going into verse 1. Starting at verse 1, it says, "In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the son of the matters." Verse 2, "Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea." Verse 3, "And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it." And that's talking about the Assyro-Babylonian Empire, which was talking about, the lion with the eagle's wings. That's the Assyrian Empire. And then when its wings were plucked and it was made to stand like a man, it transitioned to the Babylonian Empire. Now, verse 5, "And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh." And that bear is talking about the Medes. All right. Now, when you talk about devour much flesh, it's talking about all the lands that it conquered. Okay. The Medo-Persian Empire, the lands that it conquered. Going to history, under the rule of the Persian Xerxes, he had 127 provinces, expanding from India all the way to Ethiopia. So that was a big ass empire. All right. Now we're going to go to the 8th chapter in the book of Daniel. Let's see. Yes, Daniel chapter 8, starting at verse 1, and it says, "And in the 3rd year of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai." Verse 3, "Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had no horns. Which had 2 horns, Slakia, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other. And the higher came up last." Just like going back to the bear, one side stood up higher than the other. So, like I said, first came the Medes, and then the one that came up higher and was greater was the Persian Empire. Okay, now verse 4, "I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. All right. Now I'm going to drop down to verse 20. And it says, excuse me, verse 20. And it says, the ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Okay. Now we're going to go to Daniel 5. Chapter 5, verse 1. And it says, Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Verse 2. Belshazzar, while he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar wasn't, he was the grandfather of Belshazzar on his mother's side. Okay, Belshazzar's father is Nabonidus, who married Nebuchadnezzar's daughter, Nitocris. And okay, it says, which his father, his grandfather Nebuchadnezzar, had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Verse 3. Then they brought the golden vessels that that were taken out of the temple of the house of the Most High, which was at Jerusalem, and the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. 5. And in the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlesticks upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Okay, verse 6. And the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. Basically saying, after seeing a hand write a message, that basically it terrified him. It scared the shit out of him. And that's when the king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain of gold around his neck, and shall be the 3rd ruler in the kingdom. So, none of those astrologers or any of the Chaldeans or any of the wise men or soothsayers, they couldn't interpret it. And this is what troubled Belshazzar. Now the queen, which was referring to his mother, told him about Daniel. That Daniel was the one who could solve problems, interpret, deep dark sayings. So he brought him in. So I'm going to drop down to verse 25. And it says here, Daniel chapter 5, verse 25, it says, and this is the writing that was written, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. Verse 26, it says, this is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, meaning the Most High hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. So basically telling him that Belshazzar's days, being in rulership are numbered. And Tekel, thou art weighed in the balance and art found wanting. So weighed in the balance and he couldn't measure up. Okay, and Paris or Upharsin, that kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Okay, so going back to the story, Daniel told Belshazzar that you're just as prideful as your grandfather Nebuchadnezzar, okay, whom the Lord had, had reduced to that of a wild man, eating in the fields like an animal. And Belshazzar knew of this, but yet he didn't humble himself. So Daniel gave him the interpretation of this writing, telling him that Belshazzar, his time in the power seat was over. Okay. Verse 29, and then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet and put a chain of gold around his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the 3rd ruler in the kingdom. Verse 30. In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. Verse 31. And Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old, so 62 years of age. Okay. Now, this is going to be the book of Daniel again. This is going to be chapter 11. Chapter 11, starting at the top. It says, also, I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. Verse 2. And now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. Okay, so these 3 kings, right, is talking. Oh, here's the chart of the Medo-Persian family tree. The ones in the orange. I know it's kind of hard to see on my screen, so Salakia, actually, no, let me see if I can zoom in real quick. There we go. All right, so this is the Medo-Persian family tree, and so what you have over here in the orange is the Medes, the blue, the Persian, and in the green is the Medo-Persian, where the two powers intermingle. So what we have here, so those 3 kings it's talking about is Cyrus, Cambyses, and Darius. So Cyrus the second, and we have Cambyses the second, and of course, and then Smerdis, who is Cambyses the second's brother. And then we have Atassa, who is the daughter of Cyrus, and she married Darius the first, who is Darius the Mede. Oh wait, hold on. Salakia. Salakia, give me a second. Hold on. Let me sit down now. Okay, so the blues, the Medes. Let me get to this one here. This chart's a bit more. I don't want me to mess that up there. Salakia. Let's see if I can get back to that chart now. There we go. So, okay, now here in the blue is the Medes, the light yellow is the Persian, and the green is, of course, Babylon, but we're not worried about Babylon. So, yes, under the Medes, there's Darius the Mede. He, actually, yep, I actually had that right. So, so let me go back. So I had it right, Salaki. I was kind of second guessed myself there. But yeah, Atassa married was to Darius the first, and then their son was Xerxes the first, and Xerxes the first is known as Ahasuerus in the book of Esther. So when you see the name Ahasuerus in the book of Esther, that's referring to Xerxes right here. Yeah, Salakis. The Medes are in the orange, which is over here. The blue is the Persian, and the green is the Medo-Persian. So they both came together and formed one, formed the Medo-Persians. Okay, the Medo-Persian Empire. All right. So this Darius that I was this right here. Yeah, here we go. This was the thing right here. So, like I said, the blue's the Persian. So Cambyses the first married Mandane, who is the mother of Cyrus the second, who is also a sister to Darius. And this is and Darius also went by the name of Cyaxares the second. So this is Darius the Mede. This right over here, this Darius was a Persian. So Salakia on that. So Cambyses and Mandaean came Cyrus II. So these were the three kings: Cyrus II, Cambyses, and then Darius. And that, Salakia. And the fourth king that was far richer and was stir up war with the Greeks, was right here, Xerxes the First. All right, now I'm gonna go to the book of Isaiah real quick. Okay, this is just to show you that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 44. Excuse me. Isaiah 44 and 28. Okay, and it says, "That saith of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple thy foundation shall be laid." Now going to verse 45, chapter 45, verse 1, Isaiah 45 and 1, it says, "Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus." And this is not talking about, and no, Cyrus was not an Israelite, he was a heathen, okay? And he just, like I said, he appointed Cyrus to be ruler, and he put the spirit on Cyrus to give permission to Ezra, to take, to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. And it says right here, "Thus saith the Lord," Isaiah 45:1, "Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings to open up before him the two leaved gates, and the gate shall not be shut." Okay, so that right there tells you that again, the book of Daniel 4 and 17, that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and he setteth up whosoever he will. Okay, so he put Cyrus in charge of giving Ezra, along with the other exiles that were in Babylon, to go back to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. Okay, you can find that in the book of First Esdras. In fact, let me see something. So give me a moment. Yes, I'm going to go to the book of Ezra, the first chapter, starting at verse 1. And it says, "Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai of heaven, hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? His power be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai of Israel. He is the power which is in Jerusalem." In verse 4 it says, "Whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, besides the free will offering up for the house of the Most High that is in Jerusalem." Okay. Now it says here, "Then rose up the Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites with all them whose spirit the Most High hath raised to go up to build the house of the Lord which is in Jerusalem. Verse 6, and all they that were with them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, and with gold, with goods, and with beasts, and with precious things, besides all that was willingly offered. Verse 7, also Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels of the house of the Lord, which even house of the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar had brought forth out of Jerusalem, and had put them in the house of his gods. Even those did Cyrus king of Persia bring forth by the hand of Mithridath, the treasurer, and numbered them unto Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah. And this is the number of them: 30 chargers of gold, 1,000 chargers of silver, 29 knives, 30 basins of gold, silver basins of a second sort, 410, and other vessels, and other vessels 1,000. All the vessels of gold and of silver were 5,400. All these did Sheshbazzar bring up with them of the captivity that were brought up from Babylon unto Jerusalem. So there was a whole caravan of people bringing much goods that belonged to the temple back to Jerusalem. Okay? Because Ezra, he was sent to go back to help, bring the exiles back to rebuild the temple. And he was supposed to, teach the people the ways again. You can even go to the book of First Esdras, chapter 2, which is going to tell you pretty much the same thing, but just in own wording. Okay. So, let's see here, Slovakia. Excuse me. Now, we're going to go to the book of First Esdras. It's going to be chapter 2, and we'll start at verse 15. It says, these were brought back by, carrying all those vessels and the caravan of those exiles that were going back. Starting here in verse 15. These were brought back by Sennacherib, together with them at the captivity from Babylon to Jerusalem. And I was telling like I said, the translations of names from Esdras are kind of messed up, or you just gotta look up to find who they are. And I think it was Sheshbazzar. So Sennacherib is talking about Sheshbazzar, together with them with the captivity from Babylon to Jerusalem. Verse 16, but in the time of Artaxerxes, king of the Persians, Belamus and Mithridates, and Tabelius and Rathamus and Biltamus, and Samalius and the secretary with others that were in commission with them, dwelling in Samaria and other places, wrote unto him against them that dwelt in Judah and Jerusalem these letters following. To King Artaxerxes, our Lord, thy servants Rathamus the story writer, and Samalius the scribe, and the rest of their council, and the judges that are in Celesyria and Phoenice, be it now known to the Lord the King that the Jews that are come up from you to us, being come unto Jerusalem, that rebellious and wicked city, do build the marketplaces and repair the walls of it, and do lay the foundation of the temple. Now this city and the walls thereof being made up again, they will not only refuse to give tribute, but also rebel against kings. And for as much as the kings pertaining to the temple are now in hand, we think it meet not to neglect such a matter. So basically, he didn't want the Jews, he didn't want the exiles returning back to Jerusalem. He didn't want us returning back to our home to build what was destroyed by the Babylonians and get back to serving our Lord, our power. Verse 21. But to speak unto our Lord the King, to the intent that if it be thy pleasure, it may be sought out in the books of thy fathers. And thou shalt find in the chronicles what is written concerning these things, and shalt understand that the city was rebellious, troubling both kings and cities, and that the Jews were rebellious, and raised always wars therein. For the which cause even the city was made desolate. 24. For now we do declare unto thee, O Lord the King, that if this city be built again, and the walls thereof set up anew, thou shalt from henceforth have no passage into Celesyria or Phoenice. And the king wrote back again to Rathmus, the story writer, to Beeltethmus, to Samelius the scribe, and to the rest of that were in commission, and dwellers in Samaria and Syria and Phoenice after this manner. I have read the epistle which ye have sent unto me. Therefore I command to make diligent search, and it hath been found that the city was from the beginning practicing against kings. And the men therein were given to rebellion and war, and that mighty kings and fierce were in Jerusalem, who reigned and exacted tributes to Celesyria and Phoenice. Now therefore I have commanded to hinder those men from building the city, and heed to be taken that there be no more done in it. 29. That those wicked workers proceed no further to the annoyance of kings. Then King Artaxerxes, his letters being read, Rathamus and Samelius the scribe and the rest that were in commission with them, removing in haste towards Jerusalem with a troop of horsemen and a multitude of people in battle array, began to hinder the builders, and the building of the temple in Jerusalem ceased until the 2nd year of the reign of Darius, king of the Persians. Now, we're going to go to the book of, it's the same book, the book of First Esdras, which is Ezra. We're going to go to chapter 6, starting at verse 1. And it says, now in the 2nd year of the reign of Darius, Aggeus, which is the prophet Haggai, and Zechariah, the son of Addo, the prophets, prophesied unto the Jews in Jewry and Jerusalem in the name of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of Israel, which was upon them. Then stood up Zerubbabel, the son of Salathiel, and this is not talking about the Messiah. This is talking about Joshua, which is the son of Josedek, and began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem. The prophets of the Lord being with them and helping them. Verse 3, at the same time came unto them Sisinus, the governor of Syria, and Phoenice with Sethrabuzanes and his companions, and said unto them, by whose appointment do you build this house and this roof, and perform all the other things? And who are the workmen that perform these things? Verse 5, nevertheless, the elders of the Jews obtained favor, because the Lord had visited the captivity, and they were not hindered from building until such time as signification was given unto Darius concerning them, and an answer received. The copy of the letters which Sisinus, governor of Syria, and Phoenice and Sathrabuzanes, with their companions, rulers in Syria and Phoenice, wrote and sent unto Darius, to King Darius. Greeting. Verse 8, let all the kings be known unto our Lord the King, that being come into the country of Judea, and entered into the city of Jerusalem, we found in the city of Jerusalem the ancients of the Jews that were of the captivity, building an house unto the Lord, great and new, and honed and costly stones, and the timber already laid up on the walls. Verse 10, and those workers are done with great speed. And the work goeth on prosperously in their hands, and with all glory and diligence it is made. Then asked we these elders, saying, by whose commandment build you this house, and laid the foundation of these workers? 12, verse 12, therefore, to the intent that we might give knowledge unto thee by writing, and we demanded of them who were the chief doers, and we required of them the names in writing of their principal men. So they gave us this answer: we are the servants of the Lord, which made heaven and earth. And as for this house, it was builded many years ago by a king of Israel, great and strong, and was finished. It was built, and who was that king of Israel, great and strong? It was Solomon. But, it's verse 15, but when our fathers provoked the Most High unto wrath, and sinned against the Lord of Israel, which is in heaven, he gave them over into the power of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, of the Chaldeans, who pulled down the houses and burnt it, and carried away the people captives into Babylon. But in the first year, King Cyrus reigned over the country of Babylon. Okay, now when it says reigned over, when it says that he reigned over the country of Babylon, because you remember, when a kingdom gets overtaken, they become part of that. They become part of the kingdom that's, that defeated them in battle. So Babylon became property of the Medo-Persian Empire. Verse 17, I'm going to read that again. But in the first year that King Cyrus reigned over the country of Babylon, Cyrus the king wrote to build up this house. So, letting them know that King Cyrus of Persia gave them permission to go back and rebuild the temple. Okay. All right. And now going back to Daniel. Excuse me. Daniel chapter 11. All right. Daniel 11. Now, go where it says in verse 2, Daniel 11:2, when it says, now I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings, in which I told you those kings are Cyrus the second, Cambyses the second, and Darius the first. And the 4th one shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, shall he stir up all against the realm of Grecia. So, the book of Esther. The book of Esther. Bear with me here. There we go. Esther chapter 1, verse 1. It says, now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, which is Xerxes, which is this Xerxes right here. And and through him, that's when the Medo-Persian Empire was won. So it says here, Esther 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. That's a lot of land. Verse 2, that in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne in his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace. So this right here, let's see. So like yeah, in the third verse 3, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power
of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. Okay, so he was acknowledged as the king. And you have, let's see here. All right. Okay. Yep. And this right here, this Xerxes here in Esther, like I said, this was the one that stirred up, that went up against the you all know the story of 300 with King Leonidas, and the 300 that stood against 10,000, I think it was 10,000 Persians. Ultimately, the Spartans were beaten at the Battle of Thermopylae. And so this was just a brief lesson. A brief lesson on the Medo-Persians, and we're going to go into a little bit of the history here. I'm going to read, and it says here the Achaemenid Empire, which is the which is the first Persian empire that was founded by Cyrus, was founded by the Cyrus the First right here. And it says, was an Iranian empire founded by Cyrus the Great of the Achaemenid dynasty in 550 BC, based in modern-day Iran. It was the largest empire by that point in history, spanning a total of 5.5 million square kilometers, which is 2.1 million square miles. The empire spanned from the Balkans and Egypt in the west, most of West Asia, the majority of Central Asia, and the northeast in the Indus Valley. And by the way, the Persians, Iranians, and all that, they go back to Elam, who is the so-called Hindu people, the Middle Eastern Indians. And I'm gonna show you a picture of them real quick. So these are. Salakia. Okay, the Hindu people. And I'll show you some images here. And these are them. I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen. Let me go a closer depiction, a close up here. But yeah, these are the Hindu people that have those red dots in between their eyes on their foreheads. These are your so-called Persians. Okay, they go back to Elam. All right, now it says here. Okay, so that's their symbol, which is the eagle, and this is how much they're. See, look at that. From all the way over here, over into West Asia, all the way down into the Israel, and right here, and all the way to Northwest Africa, or Northeast Africa. So that's a lot of land. It says the Achaemenid Empire at its greatest territorial extent under the rule of Darius the Great. So Darius right here, this one. Because remember, this one over here, this is the median Darius. right. Like I said, his father was Astygius, who had a daughter by the name of Mandane, who married Cambyses the First, and they had a child, which is Cyrus II. And Cyrus II had Cambyses, Smerdis, and Atassa, who is the wife of Darius the Persian. And they had Xerxes. Okay. And of course, capital Babylon, Pasargadae, Ecbatana, Susa, Persepolis. Okay. And the common languages: Akkadian, Elamite, Greek, Median. And look at that, religion, Vedic Hinduism. Let's see, Vedic Hinduism. Oh, man, come on. I'm just gonna click on it. So, Vedic Hinduism constitute the religious ideas and practice prevalent amongst some of the Indo-Aryan people of the northwest Indian subcontinent of Punjab and the western Ganges plain. So, again, these people go back to Elam, which are the so-called Middle Eastern Indians. Sorry, my console be acting up at times, but yes, so yeah, Elam. Yep. So this goes back to to Elam. All right. Now, let's see. So, let me go back. Let's see. Like I said, Cyrus the Great, Cambyses II, Bardia, who was known as Smerdis, perhaps Gamada, and then you have Darius the Great, which was Darius the Great, right here, and then Xerxes the First, Artaxerxes the Second, or Artaxerxes the First, Xerxes the Second, then Sogdianus, and then Darius the Second, Artaxerxes the Second, Artaxerxes the Third, Arsis, Darius the Third, and so on and so forth. So, now, going back from where we left off up here. So, let's see. Okay, so around the 7th century BC, around the 7th century BC, the region of Persis in the southwestern portion of the Iranian plateau was settled by the Persians. From Persis, Cyrus rose and defeated the Median Empire, as well as Lydia and the Neo-Babylonian Empire, marking the establishment of a new imperial polity under the Achaemenid dynasty. In the modern era, the Achaemenid Empire has been recognized for its imposition of a successful model of centralized bureaucratic administration, its multicultural policy, building complex infrastructure such as road systems, and an organized postal system, the use of official languages across its territories, and the development of civil services, including its possession of a large professional army. Its advancements inspired the implementation of similar styles of governance by a variety of later empires. By 330 BC, the Achaemenid Empire was conquered by Alexander the Great. Okay? Who was Alexander the Macedonian, who was the son of the Macedonian Philip, which I'm going to get into the next lesson, Lord willing, to be edifying. Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying as well. Okay? And so, and Alexander the Great was an ardent admirer of Cyrus. The conquest marked a key achievement in the then ongoing campaign of his Macedonian Empire. Alexander's death marks the beginning of the Hellenistic period, when most of the fallen Achaemenid Empire's territory came under the rule of the Ptolemaic Kingdom and the Seleucid Empire, both of which had emerged as successors of the Macedonian Empire following the partition of Triparadysus in 321 BC. Hellenic rule remained in place for almost a century before the Iranian elites of the Central Plateau reclaimed power under the Parthian Empire. All right. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much more in this, but you can read it on your own. And it says here the Achaemenid Empire borrows its name from the ancestor of Cyrus the Great, the founder of the empire, Achaemenes. The term Achaemenid means of the family of Achaemenes. Okay. So Achaemenes himself was a minor 7th century ruler of the Anshan in southwestern Iran and a vassal of Assyria. Okay. You see how it's funny because when empires, when they start crumbling from the inside, like, you know, their economy, the job market, the commerce, the business and all that, and the people are no longer able to live the lives that they live in comfort, and they start living, you know, things turn to chaos. It's funny because it's like the old saying goes, in the midst of chaos, you know, in the midst of confusion and you know, things falling apart, there's opportunity. You know, when a kingdom is crumbling and losing power, that's when another kingdom sees that and they capitalize. All right. So once again, this is talking about the Medo-Persian captivity. And remember, the original Medes were the sons of Japheth. So that goes into the so-called the Japhetic people are the so-called the Pacific Islanders, like the Hawaiians, Samoans, the Chamorros, or people from Guam, the Filipinos, Indonesia, the Australians. All those people of the Isles, those are the original Medes, and they were working in conjunction with the Persian, with Elam. Okay, so Lord willing that this was an edifying lesson unto the body and to the few sincere believers and listeners. In the closing, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Radash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Ba'ath and Tabadat, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you in the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abba Babal, Shalom, Barakatam.